Hello from Singapore. Welcome to the Ministry of Guitar YouTube channel. I'm Utkarsh Mohan. Subscribe to us for structured reviews, an unbiased point of view, and an international perspective. Today on the Ministry of Guitar, the controversial blend of Firebird and Les Paul, but as you'll find out, possibly the best Gibson Les Paul I have ever played. So this is a guitar that needs some introduction, as you can tell from the body shape. This is a Gibson Bonabyrd. This, of course, is one of the many signature models of Joe Bonamassa, one of the better blues guitarists of the last couple of decades or so. And this is an interesting one. This guitar divides opinion like none other. I personally really like it, but we'll get into that. Let's start off with the case. It's a fairly standard Gibson custom case, other than the JB Joe Bonamassa insignia. Of note, of course, are the gold-colored latches. Standard, pretty standard Gibson's sound to them. All right, let's open it up. Ooh. I have to say, Pelham Blue is an extremely beautiful color. And yeah, I like Pelham Blue Firebird for due to rival sons. So, and I like Les Paul, so this is pretty good. Let's check out what's inside. All right. Sorry, this does not come with the case. This is just for protection. All right. You get a Joe Bonamassa signature or certificate of actually the signature is on the guitar. This is just a certificate of authenticity. This is number 31, and you get a Gibson gold card warranty. This is the original receipt from where I bought it in Japan. The Gibson, I think it's a Japanese warranty, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, and this is actually the shop. Oh, actually, the world's finest guitars comes from Gibson Custom, but I think this is specific to the shop where I bought it from, which is Ochanomizu's Mizu's world's finest guitars. This is fascinating. This is the description in Japanese. So they make a special, wow, they make a special manual for this. I actually didn't notice this till right now. Case made in Canada. This is the back cover in case you want to remove the Gibson Custom one. And my pick, Gibson. Oh, they're encouraging you to be a bit more social. Couple of hang tags. Yeah, so that's pretty much what you get with a Gibson Bonabyrd. So this guitar was derived from a guitar that the Gibson Custom Shop made for Joe. It was actually a blend of two of Joe's favorite guitars, which was a 57 Les Paul as well as a Firebird. I believe he likes a Firebird 1, but this has two humbuckers just like a regular Les Paul. So I was pretty fascinated by this guitar. I always wanted to get one, but I just didn't think spending that amount of money made any sense. But you know, I was eventually lucky enough to find one at a very different price range compared to what it originally came for, but brand new, from one of from Japan's top Gibson custom dealership, which is the Ochanomizu's world's finest guitars. There is a story behind this guitar and how I purchased it though. So I actually, even though this guitar was on my radar, I had actually gone to the shop to purchase a custom. And I ended up trying at least, if I remember correctly, 6 customs, 7 R9s, because that shop, the in Ochanomizu, has like, I think they have at least 50 R9s and 30 customs. It's a ridiculous shop. You should go there sometime. And then I spotted this one, and then I A/B'd this against the best of the customs and the best of the R9s, and even though this was more expensive, the sound just kind of blew me away. And I was like, okay, I mean, if I'm being true to myself, I have to get this guitar. And so that's the long story of how I got this guitar. Specs wise, this is, as I mentioned earlier, based off a 57 Les Paul. The most interesting thing to note about this is really the bridge, other than, of course, the headstock, is the bridge. It's a wraparound bridge, and it does come with its disadvantages in intonation. To the trained ear, to my untrained ear, it makes no difference. But the impact that this bridge and overall, I don't know what it is, has on the sound of the guitar is phenomenal to begin with. So continuing on the specs with the top, this of course is a Firebird headstock. This is a reverse Firebird headstock, the kind you would find on the reverse Firebird, which is the original Firebird. The non-reverse are the next are the Firebirds that came afterwards. So this is the good Firebird, as I call it. This is the one designed by the car designer. I'm forgetting his name. My apologies. And of course, it's one of my favorite. If you've seen my YouTube channel, it's one of my favorite guitar shapes. It has a rosewood fretboard, fairly figured rosewood. I like it a lot. Feels very nice to play. It's got the standard block inlays of any Les Paul, and then this beautiful, beautiful color of Antique Pelham Blue. It just shines. It's not the most flashy color in the beginning, but it shines like nothing else when exposed to sunlight. So I really like that, and this will fade to a nice green over the years. The pickups in these, I believe, are custom wound humbuckers. I'm forgetting what they're called. Standard PAFs, which is basically what you would get on your Gibson historic custom shop R9s and those stuff. You've got a pick guard, of course. You've got the standard 4 knobs of a Les Paul. You should know what they are. And of course, the 3-way toggle switch with the poker chip. Now, it was advertised as being made of extremely lightfoot mahogany. I wouldn't say that advertisement is entirely accurate, but hey, you will have no problems with the weight of this guitar. This is on the lighter side. I'm guessing it's under 9 pounds. The headstock, of course, comes with banjo tuners, as is the case for all authentic Firebirds. So some similar to, say, a Firebird 3 or a Firebird 5 or a Firebird 7. And yes, pretty much that's it's a fairly simple guitar. It's a Les Paul with a Firebird headstock and with a wraparound bridge. Sound is where this guitar really shines, and I have few words. I don't know how to describe it really. Point number one, this is by far the longest sustaining guitar I have, and this beats out a couple of very, what should I say, critically acclaimed guitars like a 594, like a PRS 594. This thing can out sustain a 594. The other thing is the chords in this guitar, and in general the clean sound has such a beautiful quality. And actually me and my bandmate were doing a video which you will see very soon, where we do a blind test amongst 9 Les Paul shaped guitars, all of mine. And the only guitar in our ears which stood out and both of us just latched onto it was this guitar. So in terms of sound, this is by far the best Les Paul I've ever heard. So this literally has the quintessential Les Paul sound, which means that it's sweet, it's thick, it's not as clear as you would think of like a PRS, for example. But that's just its character. The character of this is to be a bit more warm, if nothing else. At the same time, the bridge pickup has that great rock character. So if you were thinking of that Les Paul sound in your head that you really like, with the sweetness and the warmth and the sustain, I can think of no other guitar that better fits the brief than this one. And as I mentioned earlier, this guitar, at least in my hands, for me, beat out a bunch of customs and a bunch of R9s. So I think that says it all, really. So overall thoughts on this guitar are, I think the Bonabyrd is an unfortunately overlooked model, simply because of its controversial body shape, which completely distracts from the fact that this possibly is one of the best Les Pauls Gibson has ever made. I don't know anything about vintage guitars, but of all the post 1990 something Les Pauls that I have played, and I have played I think over 100 of them over all the shops, everything I've been through, this guitar stands head and shoulders over the rest. That's the main thing about this guitar, though. The shape really is a hit or miss depending on you. Now, I'm a Firebird junkie, as some of you might know. I have a Firebird 7 in candy apple red, a 1965 reissue historic spec gold Firebird 7, and a Nag Stuckahoe, which is also a Firebird, and a Epiphone Thunderbird, and a Phoenix that I sold, unfortunately, and I completely regret, and probably something else along the way. So I love Firebird. So, and I am a Les Paul guy in terms of what I have played most of my life. So this guitar is a bit tailor-made for me in that sense. But even if you are not a Firebird person, I think this guitar has a very unique look that stands out from the crop of Sunburst Les Pauls. And yes, I think if you can get your hands on one, if you just want a nice sounding Les Paul, I can think of nothing better than this. I keep saying this multiple times in the video. This guitar is all about the sound. Okay, let's do some ratings. So starting off with build quality, well, this is Gibson Custom Shop, so you won't get any of the usual Gibson USA concerns. It's pretty flawless. I would like to give it a 10 out of 10, but I don't know. Maybe I should give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely perfect. Sound. Oh, can you guess after everything that I've been saying? 10 out of 10. 10 out of, I don't care, versatility be damned. I mean, it's still a Les Paul. It can do most of what a Les Paul can do. 10 out of 10. Best sounding guitar. uh, one of the best sounding guitars I've ever played. Appeal, oh, here's where it's going to struggle a little bit. Controversial shapes do not draw a lot of, lot of appeal in Gibson land. So I have to deduct a few points for this one. I absolutely love it. Some people absolutely hate it. Let's let's draw it in the middle, maybe a bit more tending towards my side. 6 out of 10. Playability, hey, it's a Les Paul. It plays like a Les Paul. There is no difference. The tuners do not make too much of a difference in terms of playability. Yes, you could argue that the E string is a bit tauter, and the bottom E is tauter, and the top E is tighter. Sorry, is looser. Sorry, but it's a Les Paul, and it plays like a Les Paul. And Les Paul is not the most ergonomic guitar out there, so 8 out of 10. Value for money, oh, my friend, you're going to suffer here. I don't know what's value for money. Maybe I'm going to rationalize a little bit. And on one hand, you can get a Gibson Les Paul for like $2,000, or you can get a used, or even you can get a used custom shop for $3,500 or whatever. So $7,000 for this new sounds very stiff. At the same time, that's the same price now as the 60th anniversary, almost the same price as the 60th anniversary R9. So I'm a bit torn on this one. On one hand, it doesn't seem like it gives you a lot for the money, but then I guess all you need from a guitar really is a great sound, and this gives that in spades. So I'm not going to make it get a bad score. I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. So to summarize, build quality 10 out of 10, sound 10 out of 10, appeal 6 out of 10, playability 8 out of 10, value for money 7 out of 10, to give this guitar a grand total of 41 out of 50. Suffering mainly due to its controversial looks, and yeah, value for money, but in objective terms, this is as good a guitar as you can hope for. In summary, I think this is a really, really under-reclaimed guitar. If you're a collector, don't get this. Even if you might have a theory that, hey, this is going to be, it's only 70 or 80 made and it's a special shape, don't get it, please. This is a guitar that's meant to be played. This is the guitar that you play in a rock band, and you get all of that classic 60s and 70s sound without even trying. You don't even need pedals. You just can lean on this guitar and it will just take you through anything you want. So get it if you play. If you're a collector, please stay the hell away. All right, I hope this is helpful. Till next time.